We'll just roll with it. All right, we're live. What's up, guys? What is up? Welcome back to another episode of Deck Talk Podcast. And as we said, we've got a heck of a guest coming on here tonight, and we're excited to have him on. We actually got to talk to him at Red Crest this past year at Lay Lake, and but we're going to talk about that, and we've got other things we need to talk about, guys. But if you don't know, I'm Colin Burnett.
That's right, Colin. And I am Norman Lee. But first things first, we got to talk about the sponsor for tonight's episode, Joe Burns Rods. Custom rods built with one goal in mind: to build you the best rod that you have ever owned. When you buy a Joe Burns custom rod, they are built for you to match the way you fish, to fit your fishing style. Whether you're in the market for a flipping stick, a spinning rod, bait caster, cranking stick, or even crappie rods, Joe Burns has you covered from their unmatched power to the backbone to the tip action and sensitivity, with a guide system to improve your accuracy, giving you longer distance on every cast. But here's the kicker: the best part of buying a Joe Burns rod, it will be built for you to suit your fishing style, your grip, your forearm length. They are here to work with you as a fisherman to build you the ultimate fishing rod, unmatched and unwavered by any other rod that you have ever yanked back on. Join the Joe Burns Rod family by calling for more information at 423-618-9499. Let's get some Joe Burns rods laying on your deck, and make sure to ask about their patented cork graphite handle. Man, Colin, we are super excited about this guy. But anyway, we got a lot to talk about. So let's get right into introducing him, and let's give him the proper introduction that he so well deserves. Our guest tonight is a two-time tour level winner and a two-time Bassmaster Open winner with 55 top 10s, 80 top 20s, along with 5 Forest Wood Cup appearances, a 5-time Red Crest qualifier, and 4 times he rocked the Bassmaster stage at the Super Bowl of bass fishing, the Bassmaster Classic. He is just coming off a Major League Fishing Heritage Cup Team Series win on Green Lake in Neenah, Wisconsin this past September with tour compadre, friend, and travel partner Ott Defo. During the off season, he enjoys hunting, working on his cattle ranch, but most importantly, spending some quality time with the family. A Clemson graduate with a degree in engineering, one of the most proficient anglers in the history of Major League Fishing format, catch, weigh, release. The man himself, Mr. Andy Montgomery.
What's up, brother?
What's going on, man?
he had to take the old eraser to that part of it. So
Yeah.
so but Andy, man, it is an honor and great to have you on, and thank you for taking your time to spend a little time with us
Yep.
talking about fishing and whatever else rabbit hole we go down. So I do want to talk about. Uh, Last time that we ran into you and we actually got to shoot a little video with you on the dock there at Red Crest this past year, and it was Red Crest this past year was kind of funny, in which you kind of talked about it, like, because we asked you, do you think that in one point in time, because it looked like maybe that spotted bass, like at times it's going to be spotted bass tournament, and then at a certain time of the day it's going to switch to going for the largemouth. But then when we actually talk to you, you're like, it's going to dominate by spotted bass, and that for sure it was. Was kind of hoping that that it would have been a better turnout for you. Was hoping to see you host up that trophy because that would have been something else. DC already has one, so he can share the wealth, right? Right, right,
Yeah, right.
right. And that's what you told us was the fact that um, if I remember correctly, you said you even told us that it really didn't kind of fit into how like your favorite techniques. It did not fit into that to where you said that they were going to be scoping these fish offshore and just following the bait. And that's, I mean, and you were right on it, and it followed suit to that. And when things happen like that, I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, unless you just run them off the lake, old DC and Wheeler, I mean, they're going to be in the hunt for it at any of that time when it comes down to that forward facing sonar stuff. Oh, oh, let's see. Let's do
Yeah,
like this. I'm gonna. Sorry, guys. Uh,
yeah, we're having a lot of comments coming in saying they can't hear
yeah,
Andy.
I'm gonna do this because I totally forgot.
That picture probably overlaid
Yeah, and then I'm gonna
the
overlay.
voice. Yeah, you just
All
have
right,
the
there we go. Can y'all
overlay
hear it now?
overlays
What
in the
about
wrong
now?
place.
What about now?
Yeah,
Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Somebody comment. Yes, I hear that lovely
yeah,
Southern voice.
yeah.
All right, good deal.
I think that's going to work. And I totally forgot. I was too busy trying to. We were having camera issues, so we had to throw up a steal, and I was worried about the steal. So I
Yeah,
think they should be able to hear. And if y'all can hear, just comment back
Yeah,
on it. Um, so yeah, you were correct on that. And again, when it comes down to um,
yeah, we
us,
good. We good. We
yeah,
good. But yeah, back to Redcrest. What I was saying was, it just turned out to be a total scoping deal, and I could have done everything right, made all the right adjustments, even though I wasn't fishing good at the time and didn't make the right adjustments. I could have fished a perfect tournament, and not won that tournament because you just wasn't going to beat them guys
yeah,
scope.
yeah, right.
exactly,
And it was really a pretty big eye opening.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, and that, but um, if I remember correctly, y'all had some crazy weather though. That yeah,
Yeah.
and I was actually surprised that because I'm trying to think. Norman, was it Friday or Saturday that we went down there?
We were there Friday. The day we interviewed Andy from the dogs, I think was the day the weather was supposed to come in, if I remember right.
All right. Let's see. Sorry
Man,
about this.
no, you good.
Um, I can't. I won't be able to see those comments on that's coming in on that. So Norman, if any kind of comments that come in, if you can read them on
Oh,
that,
I got you. Sounds
so
good.
uh, because every time I click over, it takes him off of it.
All right, good deal.
So, so yeah, that there you go. The those weathers were crazy. I was actually surprised that y'all actually went out uh,
Yeah, yeah,
on
yeah,
some of them, and which I've got a cousin of mine that he is the Yamaha technician that was actually down there with you,
yeah.
uh, and so and which he said that he was surprised that they let y'all
Yeah,
go
I
out.
think they probably push it a little more in events like that. The Red Crest than maybe with a regular event. I don't know that for sure, but that just sure seems how it feels when you go
Right,
out there. Um,
right,
but
right.
we made it work. We went through some. I don't know. The weather policies have changed so much in my
Yeah,
time of fishing. They used to say they can't cancel on a forecast, and then they do cancel on a
yeah.
forecast.
Right.
And look, if there's one job that I do not want to be a part of, it's making that decision. So I do not
Yeah.
envy them people at all.
And I
Zero.
really, yeah, and I really think on a regular season event too, where you have 4 days of competition, it's easier to cancel one because you still got 3 days where where the red crest is kind of it's not the full length that you would normally have in a regular season event as well. So
I agree with that. And then, you got the show going on, just a lot more going on. But
yeah,
they
a
made
lot
it
more.
work. Nobody got hurt. Thank goodness. I
Yeah,
did hear some stories of I hid under a boat dock. I ain't going to lie. I hid up under that joke. I was hiding, but I heard some stories of some people that fished through it. And, yeah, nobody got hurt. So I guess we survived.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the main thing. Now, well, speaking of red crest, and which you fished in the Forest Wood Cup, and you fished in the Classic, and you fished in the red crest. Do you like when like at that stage, that big stage, and all the major fishing programs and stuff? Do you like only being able to maybe even bring up one fish that's the big fish, or would you rather on that big stage to bring in five?
That's not a big deal to me. I really like how we do our format. I just do. I mean, I really, really like it.
Yeah,
Bringing in, maybe one fish. I'm not sure how that's going to make any difference at all to
right,
myself.
right,
You're just holding up fish now. Now there probably is some little things they could do. Maybe go dark. To where you don't know who wins till you get to the stage. But man,
right,
that's all a balance in that. Sometimes we look at it from one perspective of being a fan there at the arena, but then you got to look at it from the guy that's not there watching it on live. So
yeah,
right.
it's so many. There's so many variables in that type of stuff. But yeah, bringing a fish back, that's not a big deal to me.
right.
I
Yeah,
really could care less. But they may could go dark, but like I said, and you just got a lot of factors in all them decisions.
yeah, and again, like what you said, I would not want to have to be a part of making them decisions like that because here, especially this off season, I mean, everybody has made some big decisions here this off season. It's not
Boy,
just the
hadn't they?
fact, and it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out, especially uh, with y'all and seeing like are they going to have days that it's going to be scheduled to where you can use the facing sonar, or is it going to be depending on the angler?
No, so in ours, we're going to be allowed to use it one period
Right,
every day. So, yeah, so we'll have one period. The way we do ours, we fish 3 periods, and one period you can use it, two you can't.
right,
It's something unique to our format that we're able to do, which I think is a
Yeah,
good thing. I like where they landed. Obviously, I'm old school, not a big forward facing guy, but hey, that's one of them things. I can sit there and I can listen for the argument for a forward facer. Like
yeah,
I can listen to them, the arguments and the points for it, and I can be like, "Man, you right." And then you listen to the arguments for no forward facer.
right.
And you'd be like, "You're right."
You're right.
So
Yeah,
that's one of them things you can argue, and you both be right. So
yeah.
it just is, and that's I like where Major League Fishing landed.
yeah,
I
And
think it's going to be a better happy medium
yeah,
for everybody,
yeah,
I agree with that.
and I think that it's going to level the playing field, if that's the fair way to say it.
Yeah,
Just, I mean, there's no doubt that Wheeler's going to go out there and he's going to catch fish. It don't matter which way you tell him to catch fish. He's going to go catch fish.
that's right.
And not knocking any other angler, but these guys, especially like these younger guys that are coming up, people think that they're just so focused on that forward facing sonar, which that's all they've grown up with. And then you have like guys that are like our age that we grew up beating the banks, or we grew up throwing the ledges and stuff and skipping jigs up underneath docks. We
Right,
that's and if you give me a lake that has some docks on it, I guarantee you I'm going to hold my own throwing up underneath some docks.
right.
And um, so I just think that it's going to level that playing field, and I think it's going to make it more exciting to
Yeah,
see.
I agree. And I don't fault the guys that are really good at it. They put a lot of time in
Yeah,
to
they
be
have.
really good. And whether I am or I ain't, some people tell me I'm really good at skipping a jig. I put a lot of time in, perfecting that technique, and
Right,
and so I don't fault the guys that put all the time in
Yeah.
I'm at this point in my life that I don't have that type of time to devote
right.
to that, and
Yeah.
them guys do. Don't
Yeah.
fault.
No,
More fire to them. They're better at it. It's just the stage of life I'm
Yeah.
in. Obviously, me
I,
running trying to get to this podcast.
Yeah.
well,
Now,
and
is it going to be up to each angler what period they want to use it
Yeah,
for facing,
yeah,
or
yeah, and that's kind of interesting too. But yes, it's up to each angler. They gotta tell their official. Well, heck, I can't even say that because I'm not really sure if that's the case or not. At first, I was going to say you got to tell your official before it starts what period you're going to use it.
yeah,
right,
But I really not sure if that's fact or not. So,
right,
well, I guess we could be political and then not have to be fact. But anyway, it's um, you can only use it one period, and that's really all I know. I'm
yeah,
not
right.
sure when you got to tell. And the other thing about our deal is we have an official in our boat, so there's a way to
Yeah,
monitor that and a way to
yeah,
police that.
right, right, right.
I've seen all them lock boxes get posted this
I've
week.
seen. Yeah, I
Oh,
was gonna say I've seen those
them
lock
suckers,
boxes.
them
Yeah,
suckers was posting that and putting thoughts, and that way they get them clicks and get them comments, run them social numbers up.
You got
I
to do
look,
what you got to do.
yeah, I looked at them things. And I'm thinking, what in the world is this thing? I'm not sure if we got to use them or not because we have an official in the boat. Them
Right,
may be just for the tackle warehouse series, where they're going to use it one day and then one day they're not
right,
completely
right,
the whole
right.
day. So it's probably maybe for them. Because I'm sitting there thinking, well, heck, what does somebody else hold the key to it? And
Right.
you don't even
or
have
you, yeah, or you got the MPFL that isn't going to be using it at all.
yeah, they just do away with it. You just
Yeah,
can't put the thing on your
Yeah.
boat or you got to take it off or whatever.
yeah,
So
yeah,
Which I mean, John Cox, he don't care about that. I mean, he still has his in the box in the back of his truck, is what he told us.
yeah, yeah. Hey, he did put it on somewhere. Where was we at? Back when he was fishing the BPT and he was out there playing with it and having fun with it. His buddy now, his best friend's gotten really good at it, Keith Carson.
Oh
right.
yeah,
Oh
he was
yeah,
telling us that he hopped on. He said, was he on Kissimmee? And he was telling us that
I can't
he
remember.
went to a place that and he was like, and he took out Keith's boat, and he said, I went to this place where I knew that I was going to catch some fish, and he had his brother on the boat with him, and he said, I'm going to cast over here, I'm going to catch a fish, I'm going to cast over here, I'm going to catch a fish, and he scanned over there to see. And he said, I seen a fish at both places. And he said, I caught both of those fish. And he said, he looked at his brother and says, all right, I'm done with this. Let's go take this boat and put it back on the trailer. And I'm going to grab mine and let's go.
Yeah, John's one of the purest guys I've ever met in this industry, and I've been knowing him, which we was all broke. But 99% of us back in the day when we came up, we was all broke. But John
Yeah.
was broke too. I think that's a
Yeah.
little different now. The kids that's actually coming in better have a little bit of backing, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
they got to somehow. And I
you,
don't know how. I don't know how. I mean, there's that y'all even do it. I mean, for as long as it y'all have been doing it. I mean, the sponsorship is everything.
Yeah,
And
it is now. It wasn't when we started. Thank the good Lord. I mean, when I came in and Brian Thrift and me
right,
and Brian fished team tournaments together. So we just, I mean, we paid our own way and just had to make it off livings. I mean,
right,
yeah,
make it off tournament winnings. That's how we made it. And
yeah,
yeah,
but anyway, things have changed in that front too. I, if you dive into to most of the guys that are professional and have been there 10, 15 years,
Right.
95% of them was broke. And I mean,
Yeah.
they were splitting 99-cent cheeseburgers at Wendy's. You
Yeah.
forget getting a 99-cent cheeseburger now. It's $2.99.
Yeah.
And that's if you're lucky.
You get one piece of bacon instead of two now.
So yeah, I can remember, and John was telling us that it come down to where if he did not cash out in one of his last tournaments of the season, of I forgot, is like his first or second year, that he said that he was going to have to hang it up, uh, and he was having to scrounge around trying to find money for,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you dig into all our past, man. There's all them stories. It's pretty.
yeah,
It's pretty. And I think maybe that may be a thing of the past. I mean, Dakota Eber didn't come from much, and he made it. So I don't.
Yeah.
yeah,
You wouldn't want to use that as an excuse.
right,
Um,
right,
but it's pretty. We all got. I say we all. Well, a lot of us have got them stories. I mean, I can remember telling. I didn't know how much money I had because my sister controlled my money. That's crazy. Even before I was married, a woman was controlling my. Anyway, she paid all my bills, my credit card bills, and all that stuff. And I remember making the top 10 at Eufaula in a Everstart. And she called and said, "I'm glad you did good because I didn't know how we was gonna pay for the next one."
Yeah.
oh, yeah,
So
and
yeah, we all got them. We all got them stories.
yeah.
Auntie Fo's got them. I mean, it's uh, yeah, we do. And you look back on it and you're super grateful for that's how it worked out.
Right,
Yeah.
and I think, and you kind of hit the nail on the head, because we've had some like older anglers and stuff like that, on here, and they talked about what it took for them to get to where they were at, and everybody, like all of them, seem like they're very thankful, and they're surprised, like I'm making a living off of fishing.
Yeah,
And to where I think, and not knocking the younger kids and stuff like that, but um, they haven't really had to pay their dues, I guess, like to that, and to be thankful. Yeah, they're thankful that they're being able to fish and do what they love, but I think the older generation and stuff of the fishermen, that they they really appreciate, because they had to grind through scrounging around for $1 hamburger,
Yeah.
yeah,
and everybody that we've talked to that has been in that older generation of anglers that's paid their dues. You can tell that, I mean, they're very thankful and grateful that they were able to do it, because there was times that they didn't think that it was going to happen.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
So,
and
I mean, that's super true now, but I don't want to short the young anglers too, because
right, right,
even though we had to grind through financially, and some of them may not have to grind through financially as much, they do got the ones that's going to make it.
yeah,
They got to grind with their time.
that's it.
yeah.
And that's gonna make them appreciate it too.
Yeah.
So grinding with your time, and it's like my nephew, he's just eat up with hunt. My daughter is too, but she's only 10. My nephew's just eat up with it, and he's in a better situation just because he's my nephew. That now, even though I don't tell him how to catch fish a lot, very very rarely, I want him to learn on his own.
Right.
I mean, he is fishing with loose rods and reels that are nice.
Yeah.
And I started my professional career with 7 rods and reels. That's all I own. 7 rods and reels. It took me 7 Christmases and birthdays to get them. So I know he's not the financial side of it.
Right.
He's got a little better, but if he wants to make it, he's gonna have to show me that he wants to grind with his time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
And that's all. It's all about time. You got to
Yeah.
grind with that time.
have you been able to fish any dog fights during the off season with your nephew?
Oh no, well we did fish one and kicked my butt, so we ain't gonna talk about that. But which when you're in a team, and I've preached that to him, team. When you're a team, you're a true team. It don't,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think that's the reason me and Ott excelled so much because, it's you as Ott says, you got to be selfless. You got
yeah,
to be extremely
exactly.
Yeah.
selfless in a team tournament. But he did kick my butt in the team tournament, which I was happy he did.
Yeah.
Uh,
We got a question, and it says, and it's off the subject of fishing.
Yeah.
Uh, it said it's from Lanham's Farms, and it says, "Why Hereford cattle?"
Because I grew up with Hereford cattle.
Oh, Hereford. Sorry,
Hereford,
sorry.
yeah, yeah. I grew up with Hereford cattle, and I just, man, I got a soft spot in my heart for Hereford cattle. I can tell you this, and the way he asked that question, I'd probably guess that he's a Black Angus guy. But if you knock the hide off of them and lay the steak in front of him, you ain't gonna tell no different. The greatest marketing scheme in the history of marketing is the certified Angus beef. It was just a tremendous marketing scheme. I love Hereford cattle. I love the way they look. Oh, and I mean, I don't know. I just like them. I like the docility of them. And I guess I was kind of born into it. I'd
Right.
probably be on a different side of the fence if I was born into a Black Angus breeder, but
right.
Yeah. He says, I love them too. They're my favorite.
hey, I like you. Well, look at you,
now,
you my favorite now too.
now I'll tell you this, Andy. Um, they have the Lanhams has a boy that is a senior now fishing out of Mount Juliet, Tennessee.
Yeah.
That he may be 5'1", but that stick that he swings a heavy stick. That I mean, he brings in some. He actually won as a sophomore, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys. That he won the Tennessee State Championship as a sophomore,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so
It's pretty crazy how big, how it's exploded. High school and college
oh,
fishing.
I'm telling you,
My daughters, well, I say my daughters. I got one daughter and a niece, but they both like mine. I mean, they're
right?
fishing now, so I've captained them. It's just exploded. I hear these stories about this guy's coming because he's that good, and
Yeah,
they're everywhere now. They're
they
everywhere.
are.
yeah,
Every state's got multiple kids that can flat out fish. Like
Yeah,
where my nephew is at this point, and I mean, he mechanically casting and all that. I mean, he's 14 years old, and he's just light years ahead of where I was at 14 years old. And I say that about him, but the problem, it ain't a problem. It's a good thing. The deal is there's 1,000 more of him, maybe 10,000
oh
more of him
yeah,
yeah,
across the country now.
yeah,
Where back in the day when I came up, maybe they was only what, maybe 100 or 200 kids nationwide
exactly.
that could really fish.
yeah.
Right now, now, I mean, you're talking about high school and college, and I tell people all the time, if they would have had college fishing when I was going to school, or even high school fishing, I would have showed up a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad they didn't because I played a lot of sports,
Yeah,
and that was a big part, and it's probably a big part of why I made it. The discipline that taught me. I played from
Right.
pretty old school coaches, and that demanded extreme discipline, and I'm thankful for that. So yeah,
right.
part of me says, man, I wish I had this when I came through, and then part of me is like, no, no, I'm good. I like
Yeah.
the way I grew up.
now, now, did you play any sports when you went to Clemson?
No, no, I wasn't good enough to play D1. I was good enough to play D2, but
Right.
I just had no desire to do it. I was done. I'd played sports my whole life, and I just wanted to fish, man. That's what I wanted to do. It's
Yeah.
we was pretty good my senior year of baseball, and we lost. I think maybe in the upper state, whatever we lost, and there was about seven of us that played all the way up through little league and won a lot of games, and the field was down in a hole, kind of our home field, and I was setting up on the hill, and all my buddies down there hugging and crying, and all that stuff. And I remember Mama walking over. She said, "You don't want to go down there with your friends?" I said, "Mama, them boys don't know how many fish they are to catch.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'd give anything to go back and play one more game now. But at that
Oh,
point in my life, I was ready
Yeah.
to fish. I wasn't ready to play college sports.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I played high school baseball and I pitched and caught and I tell you, after 14 years of catching,
Yeah,
um,
it's
I
brutal.
don't know. I would love to be able to get behind the plate, like what you said, just do it for one more day. But I'm afraid of what that next day is going to entail because I know I'd be sore.
You probably won't be able to get out of the crouch
I
position
would
anymore.
not. I would not. So
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, I know what you mean.
now, how? Another question was, how do you adjust your bait caster when you are skipping up underneath the dock?
Yeah, that's a loaded question there. I wish I could just lay you on one. On, I mean, every reel's different.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna say every situation's different, but every reel is different. And even with my skipping reels, the loose skipping reel, it has a skipping zone on it, so you can
right,
put it in that zone.
Yeah.
It's just no hard finite way to do that. I do like doing my fine adjustments with the lefts. I call it the left side. If you got a right-handed reel, it's the
Right.
dial. Got the numbers on it, and then the little knob that you actually turn. I try to get it kind of set the way I want it, and then I do most of my adjustments with the left side of the reel. But
right,
even me, using them loose skipping reels, I one may be set on 9, and I pick another one up, and it's set on 7, and then another
right,
one may be set on 6. It's every reel's different, and a lot of that depends on where you got that knob on the right side set at, because
Right.
right.
it don't have numbers on it, so
No,
you're just kind of guessing on that deal,
yeah,
which affects what the one on the left. So I wish I could say put it on 7 and go to work, but
it's not that easy though.
it's not that. It really
Yeah.
ain't.
So, how? I mean, because you kind of talked about it earlier. That I mean, that's kind of what you grew up with. I mean, is just going around and doing all that. Now, I want to know, and who is the better skipper? Because Ott likes to do some skipping,
He's pretty dang good.
and
Um,
so I just want to know. I mean, we can. Ott was supposed to be on here tonight, but I think his youngin had a basketball game or something, so he couldn't make it. So we're going to grab him on another episode.
yeah,
But
no, he can flat out get the job done.
yeah,
I wouldn't say one's better than the other because but Ott can flat out get it done.
right.
He can flat out get it done.
Yeah.
I don't
We
think he was that good at it. He started hanging around with me, so I'm gonna say I rubbed off on it.
and
All
I
he all he knew how to do was throw a daggum little plug, as y'all say. He threw that plug on a spinning rod. I don't remember the last time I seen him throw a plug on a spinning rod. Now he's
oh
up
yeah.
here swimming a jig under dock and
Yeah.
vibrating jigs.
Oh yeah, and uh and I like that camaraderie and stuff uh that you and Ott and Edwin has. Those are the funniest videos when I'm watching them and just seeing y'all kind of just have fun with each other and just going out fishing. Um, and then watching like whoever, I think Edwin was probably the worst about it. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, Andy. But if you and Ott were up front, Edwin's throwing from the back of the boat across both of y'all's lines. And I mean, I don't know what the purpose of him trying to do that besides he's just trying to mess with y'all.
Yeah, well, you've never met a more competitive person in your life than Edwin Evers. The only person more competitive than Edwin Evers is Tuesday Evers, which is his
Oh,
wife.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a good little deal. Me and Ott's been we started rooming together. As soon as we both made the elites together, I guess 2010.
Right.
So yeah, we spent a whole lot of time together, probably about as much as we have with our wives. But
That's what I was about to say. You probably spend more time with him than you do with
yeah,
your wife.
Yeah, never
So
never had a single argument. We just get along so good. It just. I mean, it just flows, and I'm super appreciative of him and the thing. And we've taught each other a lot, and he'll tell you that too. We've taught each
yeah,
other a lot, both on the water and off the water. And
Right.
you just kind of feed off somebody like that, and then
Yeah.
watch how they handle situations, and it just works out, man. It's been probably the single biggest blessing of my career is how we became buddies and
right.
what we fed off each other. We got a
Yeah.
lot of mutual sponsors, and a lot of people probably think that we got them for each other, but that didn't happen. It just kind of worked out that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I do want to talk about the team events that you and Ott fished, and I mean, y'all went out there swinging some haymakers out there.
Yeah, we won every day we fished, which was
Yeah.
I don't know that you can do it any better than that. The
Yeah,
last day, the Joneses about ran us down. Um, and it's I'd fished that lake maybe 2 hours, the
right.
championship lake, and just kind of rode around. And I never fished this dock, but this one dock was just set up perfect. And I remember that morning telling Art like that's probably the best dock on the lake right there.
Right.
And we had it in our mind like we was going down there. We was going down there to fish that stretch, and then we got up by about 15 pounds or so.
Right.
And Ott said we don't need to go now because all we can play defense and win. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Well, Junior and them, that's the stretch they went on and dang near rode us down on that swing. Yeah, they caught like 8 off that one dock. It's pretty amazing. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was just a tremendous week. One of the best weeks of my career fishing professionally, by far. We fished so good together. Flipped back and forth who was running the front, depending on who was hot, and it was a very selfless week, as I
Right.
said.
Right. Yeah.
Selfless. That's how you make a good team. It's
Yeah,
self.
and that's what just you're exactly right. I mean that when you got two people that mesh together real well and communicate and does not mind the other one taking the light
Yeah.
is when the team really shines. And
Yeah,
so
it does, and on that you can see who's catching the fish. So there's cameras everywhere. But I go
right,
back to my team tournament days at home growing up here, and we had a lot of success. I fished a lot with Brian Thrift, fished with my dad, and I fished with Louis Hull, who started shooter lures and
right.
some form of us combination fish. But one thing about it, when we came back to the weigh-in, nobody knew who caught them fish. Nobody. We didn't go
Yeah,
around saying I caught 3, I caught 2, I caught all 5.
yeah.
Just nobody knew. It was a selfless situation.
Yeah.
Man, a lot of people ask like, "How in the world did you and Brian fish together?" We didn't care how they got in there that
Right.
box. We
As
did
long as
not
it got
care.
in there.
We
And that,
didn't care. Long
yeah.
as they got in that box.
And that's the one thing I was most interested to see coming up with the team series this past year is, how a lot of the anglers will mesh because, some of the anglers fish against each other their whole career, but haven't spent time on the boat with each other. And of course, with you and Ott, it's different because, you guys are close friends off the water as well. So we're pretty sure that you guys had fished together before, maybe in even some team events. But, there is quite a few camera moments with some of the different
They
and
were.
not to mention any names, but they actually made the top championship four also that didn't mesh too well, totally two different fishing styles, and we've
Yeah.
seen a couple button heads, but yeah, that was something crazy that I was most looking forward to seeing is how you guys would mesh together, especially the guys that just haven't even fished together before. Like you said, it's all about team. You have to be selfless and put all your egos aside.
Yeah, you
And
gotta put your
yeah,
ego, and even if you got two really selfless people, then you still got to mesh together. 'Cause,
yeah,
Right.
me and Art fish a lot alike, like a lot alike. We end up in the same places a lot on tournament days, and it's just because we've just run together so long.
right, right,
Just
right.
what it is.
Yeah. Now, how do you like the team events,
No, yeah,
or I mean, as over like
yes.
the
I'm interrupting you, but yes to everything you were about to ask.
right? Okay. Well, I was gonna say something like the for the heavy hitters and stuff like that. I
Yes,
mean, because you've done pretty well on them heavy hitters,
yeah.
and
Yes, 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 and yes. The team event at that level is the best thing I've ever been a part of in fishing.
right,
Other than the original, and it says on the website, and I didn't write that, so I don't know who did. Like one of the most proficient anglers in the history of. Well, that was mainly back in when we did no practice. You
right,
know,
yeah,
on lakes that we'd never seen. They didn't go
right,
to lakes we'd been to. These is places we'd never seen. And it's 15 minutes and get it on. And I really excelled in that format. Um,
Right.
so that format there, which is how I grew up because I was always working full time and I basically just showed up on tournament morning here and had to go fishing. And this
right,
team style event, which is based off of that format, that's it's just I just love it, man. I
Right.
just
yeah.
love back. Man, I just love backing my boat in the water and knowing that nobody's got an advantage over me. It just
Yeah.
does something
Right.
for me mentally, and it puts me in the right place. And yeah, I've just had a lot of success doing that.
So do you like it better with just like how it is now with the two, or do you like it when there was four of y'all, or was it, or it
It
may have
was
been
three of us.
three,
No, it's
three, yeah,
it's way better this way.
yeah,
Way better.
right,
You hear them say, "I got one," and then everybody said, "What is it? What is it? What is it?" You can't see. It's just the raw emotions you feed off each other. You know what's happening instantly. You know if the guy lost a fish, how big it was. You just feed off instantly your partner's emotions and your
right,
emotions. You share
Right.
them emotions. You got that earpiece in, you don't know what's going
hmm
on. Hey,
yeah,
listen. Hey, I fished with James Watson. James Watson was on my team, and I was a captain, and I picked James. I like James now a lot. He's fun to be around. But you get one of them earpieces in your ear with you really don't know what's going on the other end of that deck. You have no clue. So instead of worrying about trying to catch fish, I was pretty much confused, and I wouldn't say confused. I was intrigued. I was intrigued at what
yeah.
the heck Watson's got going on in that boat. It
Yeah.
all didn't make the camera at airtime. Obviously, it couldn't. But we're
No.
talking about animals up on the bank and everything else. I'm thinking, what in the world's going on in this boat?
And then to come to find out, he was talking to himself for an hour and a half.
Or he was talking to that squirrel up on the bank.
Right.
You
Right.
didn't know who he's talking to, you or somebody else. But yeah, it's two people in the same boat is
Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely the way to go.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I do like watching because it still comes on like the outdoor channel, the older way with the three and the
Yeah,
earpieces, and I do think that was pretty cool because you're able to, being in separate boats, that you're able to, when it's working right, you're able to say, I caught throwing a chatterbait off of sparse grass, or you're able to communicate with that.
yeah,
Um, so I thought that is very, very interesting.
yeah.
Uh,
I agree.
but I have seen it to where, just like what you're saying, that just a lot of people are just kind of just talking, and it kind of confuses. I mean, it confused me just watching it, let alone having it in your ear, listening to
That's
it.
right. Yeah,
And but I do want to say, and this is just my opinion, and we all know what opinions are, and but I think if somebody was to say, who do I think is probably one of the, or if I had to pick two people, the most underrated people in um, the Bass Pro Tour, I would say that you and Stephen Browning, because Stephen Browning, when it
good
comes to
stuff.
it, that I don't know what it is. He flips another switch and he finds some fish.
Yeah,
Uh,
Stevens elite
yeah.
mentally, elite mentally. I look up to him so much on how he carries himself, his attitude. Um, man, I just look up to him so man. I don't think he's fishing this year. He's wanting to fish with his son, I think.
Uh,
But man, that dude, he's just elite mentally, and he had a lot of success in Major League Fishing. That's for sure.
yeah.
Um,
And I think the the format with the Bass Pro Tour, with catch, weigh, and release, really kind of fit into both of y'all's, to help both of y'all out. That y'all are able to take advantage of it, and uh, but I thought that you really didn't get the notoriety that I thought that y'all should get, because I'm over here watching y'all and watching online and stuff, and I'm like, they should be talking about Andy Montgomery right here. Why? I mean, he's over here smoking them, and they're
yeah,
over here talking about Joe Smo,
yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, so that's just my opinion on it,
I mean, I
and
agree. I agree to some extent. I do know the original format of the all you can catch. I mean, the no practice, the original deal when we was all
right,
still fishing bass. It really helped my career. It boost my
right,
career tremendously. On the business side of things, and it kind of let my personality show a little bit, which was had never been able to show. Everybody thought I was just a country boy that couldn't talk on camera and all that good stuff, and so I'm forever grateful for that. The Bass Pro Tour when it started, yeah, I found myself a lot in a position where I was. So they put the cameras on the cut lines,
right,
um, and I found myself in good position a lot of times where I wasn't where the camera was gonna get, or I was sucking so bad that it wasn't gonna get there either. And but yeah, so I didn't make Red Crest this year. First time I've never made it, and that was something I was really proud of. Only 9 guys had made ever Red Crest, only 9, which
right,
blew my mind because I look at a lot of these guys that will never miss, and
yeah,
they had. And I didn't make it this year. I just started off terrible, and just wasn't prepared for the season at all. Bought a new house and just wasn't prepared.
Right.
So
Right.
right,
and I wasn't fishing good. I just, when you're fishing good, you don't fight decisions. You just make them.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I wasn't fishing good. Got myself in a crazy big hole. Felt myself coming out of it at heavy hitters. Made a big run there at the end, and then fished really good in the middle of the year. Chowan was good. I really, really thought that James River I was going to win that one. I won the day before
Right.
pretty easily.
right.
With almost quit, and I did quit. And boy, I had that tide dialed in, son. I mean, I had it dialed in better than I got them Hereford cattle tied in. And then I showed up at the time I was supposed to show up the next day, and that tide was a foot higher than I had dialed in. I'm like, man, I done read the charts all night. I ain't slept a wink making sure I was going to be where I needed to be when I wanted to be there.
Yeah,
And I guess that- the wind blew a different direction or something I didn't take into account.
Right.
yeah.
But
Well,
I said all that to say, I started fishing really good. I just dug myself way too big a hole to get out of it. So now there's only 8 guys. I think it's 8. Maybe one of them 9 missed 2, but maybe it's only 8 that's fished every single red
Right.
creek.
yeah, and that's a feat in itself. I mean the competition is getting. I mean, it's getting hard and
Huh.
fierce and stuff. That
Yeah.
I mean, to be able to compete and uh, and just for you to say that I've made every single one except up to this year, I've made every single one. That's a feat in itself. And uh, but I couldn't imagine. And knowing no and talking to you at Red Crest and stuff, and kind of watching what how the last year rolled out, and in which Norman and I we've talked, like, I mean, it's not the last. I mean, we're gonna see you come out there, and I think this next year, uh, it's almost like you got something to prove, and
Hey,
you're gonna get right back out there, and you're gonna
yeah,
swing that big stick and let
yeah,
it go. So,
yeah. I'm
uh,
ready. I'm ready for this year. That's for sure. I'm gonna be ready. I
yeah.
ain't ready right now. If you
Well,
look, you go look at my social media right now, you can see what it looks like in my garage. I
well,
mean,
that's where I was. That's where I was fixing to go
yeah, balls
because
and
I
all.
seen like a reel on Facebook, and you said it looked like a bomb went off in your garage, and you had fishing gear everywhere in that garage. Uh, so how when you're getting ready for like a season and stuff, so how do you prepare yourself and get your boat ready and your truck ready for you to go for that next year? What is the thought process of all this? Do you just
Uh,
get one tournament at a time, or are you planning out multiple tournaments to have in your truck?
I think you add a little bit per tournament, but you got your base stuff that's going to go with you all year. And then you may, you go to Florida, you may have to add some stuff. If you go up north, you got to add some smallmouth stuff maybe. But yeah, your basic stuff's gonna be in there all year long,
Right.
and it's just a lot. Like I was talking, Edwin called me today about something, and what you doing? I said, well, I'm sitting here looking at a shallow spool, a wide spool, a deep spools. I got I said I got 6 3-to-1s, I got 7 3-to-1s, I got 8 3-to-1s, I got 5 6-to-1s. I got 100 millimeter handles and I got 90 millimeter handles. And every combination you can think of. I mean, there's just so much in fishing now that we think about. And
Yeah.
but like I said, big boy is easier 20 years ago when we all just had 6 3-to-1s and we went after it. It was
Yeah.
all the
That's it.
same size spool.
Yeah.
And all that stuff does help, like that shallow spool on that skipping reel. It makes a world of difference, but they may be something you can't use it for. So it's
Yeah.
just a lot to prepare, and a lot to make sure you got right. I can't stand being out there and going to get something and I ain't got it. And that happened last year early. It
Right.
happened multiple times, and I just can't stand that,
Yeah.
man. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta do my part to make sure it don't happen.
Yeah. Now I've always been a believer in it. If you don't have it, it's better to not. It's better to have it not need it than not have it need it.
Correct.
Uh, at the end of an event, how much do you usually have either in your truck, stored away in the lockers that you bring with you just for a certain event that you probably never even touch?
Oh yeah, there'll be stuff in there you won't touch all year.
Yeah.
And it always seems like you get hot with one bait and you kind of ride it lake to lake to
Right.
lake to lake to
Right.
lake,
Yeah.
and um, so yeah, there'll be stuff you don't use, but if you don't, like you said, just go ahead and say, well, I ain't gonna use that. Get out there, you'll be looking for it.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Now I will tell you a story that we actually had Justin Hamner on, and he told us this story, and also Todd Walters, and which, guys, if you don't know, that's Patrick Walters' dad, um, had verified this story for us. And they were fishing somewhere in South Carolina that had some tidal water, and in which Hamner, with him being an Alabama boy, that he really had not fished too terribly much tidal water. And he said at practice, he says, man, I found this school. And he was telling everybody, and he was calling home, he says, I've got this tournament won.
Mm.
And he says, hands down, I am winning this. As long as I can get to this spot, I'm going to win. And so he goes out to this spot, and he said the tide had came in, and he said these fish are where he wanted them. And he said he started smacking these fish. And believe me not, Andy, he said for about an hour and a half, I caught nothing but big reds. And but I was in the wrong tournament to be fishing for reds instead of bass.
He was at Winyah Bay, I'm sure.
I think that's what it was.
Yep.
He said, but I was catching some reds. It was not, and he says I would have kept on fishing, but then I had to realize that I was in a bass tournament.
Yeah, yeah. It's I was practicing. My first classic I ever fished was in Louisiana, and I was down there pre-practicing with Chris Bumgardner had went with me, and
Right.
um, so yeah, we got in the back of a little slough, and you catch a red. Like I was throwing it sounds backwards, but I was throwing a black and blue chatterbait back then, and he was throwing a white and chartreuse, and he was catching a bass every cast, and I was catching a redfish every cast, going in exactly the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do want to give an opportunity uh, to you with like kind of talk about your sponsors and stuff because again we know like really that I mean the sponsors really mean a lot and stuff. But is there a bait or even a product from your sponsors that may have came out during ICAST that is now out to the public that you're looking forward to using?
Not. I can't think of any new product that just jumps off for me. I mean, everything coming out now is forward facer, but
Right.
um, that loose skipping reel I've mentioned it a few times. It's that good.
Yeah.
It's just that good. So, if I had to pick one thing, it would be that. It's a
Right.
shallow spool, and it really makes a world of difference when you go to skipping. But yeah, no, I got I say a small sponsor base, and that's intentional.
Yeah.
I'm with Rather Outdoors, which is losing Strike King, so that covers a lot of
A
stuff.
lot of
Line, I
base.
mean,
Yeah.
it just covers a ton of stuff, and then Bass Pro Shops, which includes my boats and that's I got Monster Marine, which is another smaller sponsor. And Fisherman's National Tournament Trail is also a
Yeah.
sponsor of mine, but
Right.
um, inside the industry, I got two big ones, and they're big ones, and
Yeah.
I try to keep it small. That way, I can do them a good job, and very, very, very thankful for both of them.
Right.
And yeah, just thankful for them. So we do got a new YouTube show after the cast. Have y'all seen that with me?
After.
Oh, I have seen that. It is incredible. I think last year was your first year doing it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was our first year doing it. So yeah, we're gonna continue on with that.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
behind the scenes stuff
Yeah.
with Pete,
Oh,
Odd, and Edwin.
yeah, and that's what I was going to say, Andy. Too is that's. I mean, I think I've pretty much watched most all of them that you put out last year during last year's season. But that's one thing I really liked about your YouTube series after the cast, and that is a little bit different than the other houses that actually film as well. There's a lot of other anglers today on the pro circuits that are doing the same thing. They kind of film a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. Not some of the stuff that fans of fishing don't really get to see all the time. I mean, they can see the
Right.
on the water stuff live, but the people really want to see what you guys and what goes into your days once you come off the water before the tournament starts. But that's one thing I like about after the cast, man, is you actually keep it centered around behind the scenes off the water stuff. You guys do share some on the water during that the shows, but you have a lot of what happens in the house behind the scenes, the joke and the camaraderie that goes on between
Right.
you guys and a lot of the other guys that do kind of the same deal are more on the water stuff versus once they come off. And I think that's what a lot of people want to see is what you guys are like off the water when the cameras aren't rolling, and you're just sitting there eating dinner and that's what's intriguing to most, I think, most fans, including myself.
Yeah, it's been really good. I don't know nothing about you two, Ott and Edwin, especially Edwin's been trying to drag me into the YouTube world for a while, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done some stuff with him on his channel, and it done really well. But the guys, that's kind of producing it for us, Tyler Anderson and Tyler Real
Right.
Fisher, and then Taylor. They know the YouTube game, and they're like, man, it's killing it. It's like the numbers are
Yeah.
great, and I'm like.
Okay.
Whatever you say, don't look into me. But they like, no, you don't understand. I mean, I'm
Right.
thinking, where's a million views at? But they like, this is the first year. This is like crazy numbers for the first year, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that sounds good. Somebody's liking it, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And if Tyler's saying that, I mean, because Tyler has a
Yeah, he's
YouTube
good.
channel too that
Yeah,
is phenomenal.
yeah,
And I really like that. uh, to where he's been able uh, to go around and like follow the tournaments and stuff like that, and be able to uh, video and
Yeah.
then take pictures and stuff like that as
Yeah, the
well.
guy that works full time for him, Taylor. You know, Taylor is 19 years old. I guess he may be 20 now, but 19 years old. He went to work full time. Moved from New York to Texas to work for
Right.
Tyler. He'd done some stuff, and then he finally moved to go full time. And he's the one that actually lives with us and films it. And he's our little buddy now. That's for sure. And,
Yeah.
you know, you talked about the state championships. It's like the last tournament of the year, and his family's there. And one of them mentioned like he'd won the state championship 3 years in a row, and I'm like,
Wow.
what? He's like, yeah, he's like a 3-time state champion in fishing, and I'm like, this dude ain't even said nothing about it. That's just how humble, and it made me like
Yeah.
him even more, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
But,
Right.
but yeah, it's he's fit in well, and he films, and he's like our little buddy. He stays with us and films everything, and he does all the, you know, Tyler kind of oversees him, but he does most of the editing, and
Right.
Right.
um, you know, it's only going to get better. He walked into the house, never met us, been on, you know, we had a little phone call with him, and walked in at, where was we at first this year? Toledo Bend. He
Later.
walked in, boys. He walked in. It's dark. Here's me, Ott, and Edwin sitting there, and how y'all doing? He says, boys, I ain't gonna lie, I'm pretty nervous right now.
Yeah.
But we got him calmed down, and he ain't nervous no more.
Good. Good deal. Now, we've had you on here for an hour, so we won't hold up your time because we know that you're busy.
Yeah, I just
Um,
text my wife. She bringing home supper or what? I got to get off here and figure out that supper part. That's gonna be.
I hear you.
Odd ain't here to cook supper, and Edwin ain't here to wash dishes. I got to do something.
I hear you. So, we we got the one last question that we ask everybody that comes on here, and we're definitely not going to leave you out of it.
All right.
And so, Norman, take it away, brother.
Yeah, man. Again, Andy, we appreciate the time coming on and just talking some fishing with us, chit chatting, and us as fishermen, fishing fans. We love talking fishing. But also make sure to catch us again, once again, next Thursday. Every Thursday, you'll watch us live, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next week's guest, we are going to have Alton Jones Jr. and Senior Bass Pro Tour pros, and they were the runner-up to Andy and Ott in this past Heritage Cup team event as well. So both Alton Senior and Alton Junior is going to be on next week's show. Next week's show will be brought to you by Spear Point Performance Hooks. To be able to have one person to fish with for the day in your boat. Now, this person could be passed away or still with us. Who would that person be that you want to fish with for the day, and why would you want to fish with them?
Oh, well, that's pretty easy for me. It'd be my dad. That's who I grew up fishing with. He's passed away now. So, just like you want to play one more ball game, man,
Yeah.
you just want one more day. But you know, my daddy was a Christian. He was saved, and I'm thankful for that. But yeah, that's really simple. It wouldn't be nobody famous. It wouldn't. It'd be my dad, hands down.
That's
Right.
awesome, man.
And we've asked that. I think we're hitting right at 100 episodes, maybe a little more, and I'd say 95% of
Yeah.
the episodes and the anglers that we've asked, they have either said their dad or their grandfather,
Yeah.
and just for that reason.
Yeah, and I'll back that up. You said one. I mean, my granddaddy died when I was 13, but I remember growing up fishing. You know, when we'd
Yeah.
go fishing, you know, me and dad and him. Hey, he
Yeah.
used the push button, and that may be where I got so good at casting. I'm just telling you now, he was deadly. He put that 6-inch lizard beside every dock post on Lake Wiley with a push button. It was
Yeah.
amazing. It was
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. Now, when he got a bite, he'd push that button and feed it to him. You know what I mean? The old school feed 'em line.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, daddy or I, yeah. Now that you mentioned that, if I just had to pick one, just one, uh, I would want to be, in my prime of low 20s, and then have my grandpa to come back to fish one. Because me and Daddy we won a lot of tournaments together,
Right.
got to experience that. So yeah. If I had to pick one, it'd be for my daddy's dad, my grandpa, to be able to come back when it was I was in my prime local
Yeah.
and fish a local tournament with me.
That's awesome.
Right.
That is awesome.
Well, and another thing though, Andy, is one of these days you're gonna be able to go wet a line with them one of these days. So I
That's
mean,
right. That's right.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
because the good Lord has blessed us and been able to and blessed you and your family, and one of these days you will see him again, brother.
That's exactly right.
So, but guys, make sure you go, and we're going to put all of Andy's social media links and stuff on the description, and we're going to put the Aftercast link on there as well. So go check that out. Hit that follow, hit that subscribe button, and send him a message saying that you've seen him here. Because right now we've got 1,300 people watching. So let's send him a message saying that you saw him here on Deck Talk Podcast. And Andy, brother, we appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, Andy.
And
Appreciate it, man.
we
Yeah, I
will
appreciate y'all.
we'll definitely be seeing you probably in Birmingham.
That's right. Yep, I'll be there.
So all right, guys, y'all have a good one and live the passion, guys.
All
Love
right,
the
thanks.
passion. Yeah.